What are some things the USA does right? Long hiking trails and wilderness areas. The National Weather Service. That's where all the rest of the USA weather channels get their information. The public libraries. They are amazing. National parks. NASA. North American conservation model is wildly successful. Preservation of large areas of wilderness while still making it very accessible for almost anyone to use and enjoy. The Americans with Disabilities Act. We don't have perfect inclusion of disabled people, but we're a lot better at it than lots of places. Free public toilets. I never knew pay toilets existed until I left the US. No smoking in most buildings. Barbecue. Disability access. Public domain, and the concept of fair use of intellectual property. A lot of countries don't recognize fair use, like Japan. It's part of why Nintendo is so litigious. Free water at restaurants. Diner food. Especially breakfast. It's unique in its simplicity, ubiquity, mostly good quality, and the comprehensive range of items. You can walk into a diner in any town in America, any time of the day or night, and get presented with the same 5-10 pages of menu options you'd see anywhere else. No matter what you are hankering for, it's on the menu and you'll be eating within 10 minutes of ordering. It's a good quality, predictable, satisfying and cheap meal you can find anywhere. The epitome of comfort food. Postal service. Entertainment. We have many public libraries. Brisket. As a British person, some things of the top of my of tech companies. America has some of the largest, most profitable companies in the world. This has a number of positive benefits: better products, cloud computing, programming languages and CPU for example, super high-paying jobs. Junior software engineers in the US out-earn the average CEO in my country, amazing stock market performance. Pensions, sovereign wealth funds and savings accounts all rely on the performance of these companies. RD. America outspends every other country on RD. Combined public and private both are important. Spending in the US is $679 billion. That's more than my country budget. This RD helps with the development of life-saving medicines, aerospace and literally everything else you use. ADA. Other people can explain this better. National parks. Same as above. Freedom of navigation operations. The US Navy engages in FinOps across the world, which helps to keep the global shipping lanes free and safe. GPS Tor. Both were developed by the US and are open to the rest of us. Yet to make it over, but from an outsider looking in, your national parks look awesome and well cared for. Also seems like you guys have a lot of outdoor space to use. Explore camping, which we just don't have much of it all in the UK. I'm surprised no one has mentioned scientific research yet. USA as a country is miles ahead of any other. Sure, you have one-off universities who do good research outside of the US, but the sheer volume here is amazing. Look at the list of Nobel Prize winners by country. Silicon Valley for tech, Boston region for medicine. It's mind-blowing how the US research infrastructure attracts and retains talent. I noticed that people were talking about the per capita number of Nobel Prizes. I think a better way of judging would be to compare the number of Nobel Prize winners per number of people involved in academia in the US, and not just per capita. I don't know what the answer is, it's just a thought. Clam chowder. Air conditioning. Space program. Roller coasters. We have the tallest one and most of the top 10 fastest ones. Screw you UAE for taking our speed record by 21 miles per hour. Do Philly cheesesteaks count? Title IX. It's why American women excel in world sports competitions. Freedom of Information Act. A clear way you can ask the government for information and records. Central air conditioning won by far, followed by, in no particular order, free refills, barbecue, burgers, turning right on red, drive-thrus. I've met a guy from USA once and he cooked me some sausages. They were so dunking amazing I almost passed out. 1010 would recommend eating his sausage. Americans' meat are the best. Free refills. Corn dogs. Public libraries. The freedom. You can get DVDs, Blu-ray, downloads, music of all kinds in many formats, borrow cake pans and some places cooking utensils and more at some libraries, toys, puzzles, games. Basically anything that can be shared around with few problems are up for checkout. Libraries expanded the variety of their offerings in order to keep up with evolving online media and the advent of Kindle. Most libraries do partner with Kindle to have most books available for checkout for a limited period of time, downloaded to a Kindle or a platform with a Kindle app. No late fees because the checked out book simply disappears on the day due. Amazon will only have so many available for checkout to prevent everyone reading everything for free at once though. Witcher Turn XD edited to add also school books, and study rooms and or carousels. Free Wi-Fi. Free places to watch a checked out video or to listen to checked out music, should you lack the resources. Free computer with internet usage. These places are a godsend if you are applying for a job or need to study for finals, or take your children for free book readings, activities, and the like. I recently found out that you can check out free passes at our local library for a single trip each to the State Zoo, the aquarium, the State Museum, and something else I can't remember. Just one trip of each kind, but they are incredible to get into places you and your kids otherwise can't afford to get into. Ours has public meeting rooms that can be used for just about any type of non-party gathering, or even religious services. When my church was renovated, this was done there for a short time. Deep fried chicken, in-sink garbage disposals, Ada, burgers, interstate system, Halloween, ice in their drinks. The Bill of Rights is one of the landmark achievements in world history for the progress of human civilization. If there is anything that the U.S. will be remembered for, it is that. Alongside other miscellaneous rights enshrined in law like that against ex post facto prosecution, wide variety of consumer goods available, preservation of historical landmarks and natural wonders. While there are people who do ruin these areas, most will shun these people. Rangers are usually notified, and you can be permanently banned from all national parks if you damage anything or violate any rules or regulations. They're always amazing to be at as a result. 50s-style diners. The United States Postal Service. Dryers. Say what you will about the military-industrial complex, there isn't a military on Earth more equipped for conventional or unconventional warfare. GPS, those are lifesaver. Diverse, delicious food. The American people. Despite all of our shortcomings, the American people are super friendly, kind, and helpful. We are far more diverse racially and ethnically than the vast majority of countries, and yet we get along and are tolerant of differences and strangers. I know it's common to focus on the negativity here on Reddit, but seriously, Americans are a generous and kind-hearted people. Barbecue. All-you-can-eat buffet restaurants. I have 2 kids, a 6-year-old and a 7-month-old. Today, I took my sons to a kids' gym to play. When we got there, there was a Middle Eastern family, a couple mixed-race families, a couple black families, and my pasty white ass. All the kids just played together and had a great time. There's hardly anywhere else in the world that you can see all these types of families under one roof and nobody thinks twice about it. I say all that to say this, we still have a lot of work to do with race relations in the USA, but at the same time I think we underestimate how much progress we've made. We don't always stop to recognize and admire the moments like I had earlier today. Conditions for some amazing road trips. The feeling of the open road is pretty unique. And you can find a relatively decent, standardized and cheap motel to sleep at almost anywhere. Freedom of speech. Which means, the Gov can't tell you to STFU, but all the rest of us can. Museums, music, military. I know this will be downgraded, but we are the standard bearer for the world. I am not saying the decision makers always put us in the right places, but our servicemen and women are the best trained and the best equipped. Starting with the special operations community, being welcoming to tourists. General aviation. The USA has a general culture of friendly customer service that I think gets taken for granted. Mind you, it can vary by region and from business to business, but Americans have the general expectation to walk into a store or a restaurant and be greeted with a smile and positive energy, some personal attention, or at least a stable standard of politeness. Granted, this partly ties into America's tipping culture, which is very controversial, but this general expectation that of course people should be friendly, attentive and accommodating when you're patronizing their business is not a universal constant around the world. It's something I've learned to appreciate about the USA and its people. Breakfast. Weapons. They make fucking great weapons. Allows people to openly criticize a sitting US president without fear of death or imprisonment. Manufacturing. Hear me out, I know that China just surpassed us recently, but that's by choice. Our companies made the decision to produce elsewhere for the sake of profit. However, historically and I'd argue it could be easily replicated today. America's success economically, influentially, and militarily has been due in large part to our ability to produce at an incredible pace. Here's a few instances of what we've been able to accomplish. During the 4 years we were involved in World War II, American industrial production, which was already the largest in the world, doubled in size. In 4 fucking years during the colonial era it was vital that we bring over an incredibly varied group of talented artisans who could handle a myriad of tasks. So, during America's initial growth, agriculture, silver working, factory and mill organization, construction, woodworking, trade among others were taught to citizens by some of the best men and women Britain could offer. I'm at work, but to list some more: U.S. railway, U.S. interstate system, electricity infrastructure, automobile mass production. You can argue how well we've been able to maintain these infrastructures. But there's no arguing that when America needs to build and produce, we can fucking build and produce. Super Bowl. They've won it every year. Tailgating. As an Aussie, I wish we did this in Australia. This thread made me feel patriotic. Lol. Weather. Whatever weather you want, we have. But we're also the best at forecasting the weather. Other countries might give you a forecast for the next day or two, and their TV news might give it 30 seconds. Here, TV stations literally compete on the basis of who has the better weather. NOAA and NOOR are considered world-class. We even came up with the idea of a weather channel, and it's quite popular. There are people who just sit down and watch it to pass the time. Does any other country have its own weather channel yet? Pizza, ice cream, crabs, Jazzy Z, Constitution, The Grateful Dead, not necessarily in that order. Gifted classes or gifted magnet schools in the public school system. On the other hand, one of the things USA does most wrong is the shit schools and classes that are not part of the gifted classes. Gifted classes have kids building rocket ships. Regular classes have kids graduating that don't even know how to read. Breakfast. It's easier for me to cross the border to get chicken fried steak with sausage gravy than it is in my own province. NASA. National Parks. The Roosevelt administration realized what a treasure of diverse geography we have in the USA and claimed these beautiful areas national parks. Truly a treasure.